Manny Pacquiao is back. The comeback fight that's shaking up.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't want to do that because that'll tarnish his legacy as well as mine.
Shaking up boxing, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to tarnish his legacy or mine. Let's see at 46 how hard Manny works, and if he's still got it. I wouldn't completely count him out. That's all. Let's see how hard Manny works at 46, and if he still has it. I wouldn't count him out. Let's just say that. Those were Floyd Mayweather's.
46-year-old Manny Pacquiao coming out of retirement to face 29-year-old Mario Barrios for the WBC welterweight championship on July 19th in Las Vegas. That's according to
Mayweather's words after watching leaked footage of Manny Pacquiao's latest training sessions. And for good reason, because yes, it's official. Manny Pacquiao is back. And no, this isn't some
This is wild news. Look, in the boxing underground rumor mill, this had been floating around for a couple months. We just didn't know if it was going to be for real. Was Manny really going to commit to not just coming back after 4 years away, after just one fight in the last 6 years, at age 46, but to come back directly into a title fight against a young, in his prime, active champion, Mario Barrios? It's interesting theater, to say the least. It's a pay-per-view main event, reportedly for July.
This isn't some exhibition match against a YouTuber or a novelty bout with zero stakes. This is the real deal. Pacquiao is stepping straight into the fire, challenging current WBC welterweight champion Mario Barrios on July 19th, 2025, in Las Vegas. The announcement has stunned the boxing world. At 46 years old, Pacquiao is training like a man half his age. Sharp, fast, explosive.
Report. Pacquiao last fought in 2021 when he lost to Yordenis Ugas. Barrios won the WBC welterweight title from Ugas in 2023. His last fight was a split decision against Abel Ramos on the Jake Paul-Mike Tyson undercard in November. Pacquiao career record 62-8-2 with 39 knockouts. Barrios 29-2-1.
And focused. A clash of eras. Pacquiao versus Barrios. Barrios is no pushover. At 29 years old, he's a hungry, dangerous fighter in his prime. Youth, speed, and momentum are on his side. Are on his side. The stakes? The WBC welterweight title, a belt Pacquiao once held during his legendary career. But let's put this in perspective. When Manny Pacquiao made his professional debut at just 16 years old, Mario Barrios hadn't even been born yet. Now, nearly 3 decades later, they're on a collision course in what might be the most improbable comeback in modern boxing. Pacquiao retired in September 2021 after losing to Yordenis Ugas. Since then,
I'm not saying the odds will be high that he's going to come back and pull this upset or even be ultra competitive. But again, it's sort of like Manny's already superhuman. Turning pro at like age 15 or 16 at 106 pounds and winning titles in 8 divisions. And oh, by the way, 2 fights ago for Manny in 2019, he came out of retirement and beat an unbeaten Keith Thurman for the welterweight title at the age of 40. There's very few greats that you can call all-time greats, and I think sometimes even above that category, there's that upper room. Is Manny Pacquiao one of those in boxing history? Sure.
Barrios has claimed that same WBC title, defeating Ugas in 2023 and most recently edging out Abel Ramos in a tough split decision on the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson undercard last November. Why now? Some believe Pacquiao had closed the chapter on boxing for good, especially after entering politics full-time in the Philippines. But the itch never left. And under a special WBC rule allowing legends to request title opportunities upon their return, Pacquiao is...
You become a habit. When you start boxing, like... Woo! Woo! Like that.
The speed is still there. Woo!
is back in the hunt for gold. And make no mistake, this isn't just about nostalgia. Footage from training camp shows vintage Pac-Man. His hand speed, still world-class. His movement, fluid and aggressive. For many fans, It looks less like a comeback and more like a continuation. Can he really pull this off? Pacquiao's
clearly never left. He's a warrior through and through. And that speed? That's supposed to be the first thing to go as fighters age. Everyone in boxing knows the saying, speed fades first, power's the last to leave. But Manny clearly didn't get that memo, because the speed is still there, and it's scary fast.
Couple things. The last thing to go is power, yes. Manny was also absurdly fast in his prime. So like a Roy Jones Jr. who hung on far too long, but was still fighting professionally at the age of 50, he still got speed that kind of compares to the average or above average speed that's out there today.
Pacquiao's resume is unparalleled. 62 wins, 8 losses, 2 draws, with 39 knockouts. Titles in 8 weight divisions. Countless iconic fights. At 40, he came out of semi-retirement and beat an undefeated Keith Thurmanto, win another welterweight belt. That is this George Foreman 2.0? A last hurrah? Or something more? Joe Rogan recently weighed in after seeing the training clips, visibly shocked by Pacquiao.
That's how aside from boxing, I entered the politics because I want to serve honestly, to help the people. And I want to be an example, to be a good example to the politician here in the Philippines.
By Pacquiao's speed and power. His guest, former champion George Kambosos Jr., broke it down. Manny's famous calves, yes, the ones built by decades of hill sprints in General Santos City, aren't just for show. They're a product of relentless work, even during retirement. The Mayweather factor Floyd Mayweather, Pacquiao's longtime rival, offered rare respect when asked about the comeback. Manny Pacquiao, he's one of the best. I wouldn't want to do a rematch. It could tarnish both of our legacies. That's a big statement from the undefeated champ. Their 2015 fight, billed as the fight of the century, may have come too late.
We know Manny Pacquiao has always brought big business, but now he's going to bring it in more of the late career George Foreman type of way to etch himself into that record book even further. Can Manny do it? I mean, look, the odds are certainly against him, but there's one thing about certain legends in this game. Think Bernard Hopkins, who fought into a very late age. Some of them, as long as they can physically get themselves into that ring, sometimes they can reproduce magic for one night. So it's a romantic situation. I got cats walking around.
Yep.
People are excited to see the Pac-Man back. You just got to kind of figure out, is this for real? Is he going to be for real? Or are we going to send him into a physical, violent retirement?
Too late, but it's still delivered history. And while fans may still fantasize about a rematch, Mayweather insists he's done. Still, seeing Floyd praise Manny shows just how special this return really is. Time softens rivalries. And in this case, it may even immortalize them. What's at stake? This isn't just a fight, it's a battle of generations. A 46-year-old living legend going toe-to-toe.
And he's such an unusual guy. You know what's crazy about him is his calves.
Yeah.
When you look
Massive.
at that, they're giant. Yeah. They're like a thigh.
Toe-to-toe with a young lion in his prime. A shot at history, legacy, and one final moment of greatness. For many, it feels less like a gimmick and more like destiny. Pacquiao isn't here to cash in on his name. He's here to W-I-N-S. Oh, what do you think, fight fans? Does Manny Pacquiao still have what it takes to win a world title? Can he defy Father Time one more time and beat a young champion like Mario Barrios?
The reason why, because in General Santos, the mountains that he runs and that steep hill, that's why they're so big, because he's always constantly running the mountains. And I was doing the mountain runs with him.
Yeah.
My calves started getting bigger and bigger. But I understand, why his calves are huge. But he's always bouncing. He's always moving around.
Yes.
Like, he'll bounce for like 20-something rounds. He'll do his pads and he's jumping up and down. And he really is an unbelievable person, unbelievable athlete, and a legend of the sport. I think as time progresses, people are really going to appreciate his...
Manny Pacquiao is back. The comeback fight that's shaking up boxing. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to tarnish his legacy or mine. Let's see how hard Manny works at 46 and if he still has it. I wouldn't count him out. Let's just say that. Those were Floyd Mayweather's words after watching leaked footage of Manny Pacquiao's latest training sessions. And it's not hard to see why. Because yes, it's official. Manny Pacquiao is back. And this isn't some exhibition match or a sideshow against a social media star. This is real. This is legacy-defining that on July 19th, 2025, in Las Vegas, Pacquiao will step back into the ring.
Manny Pacquiao, I think that he's one of the best. He's one of the best.
Step back into the ring to challenge Mario Barrios, the reigning WBC welterweight champion. At 46 years old, Pacquiao is entering the fire, not for nostalgia, but for a belt he once held. And judging by his training clips, he's not just holding his own. He looks dangerous. A clash of generations. Pacquiao versus Barrios. Barrios isn't just a placeholder opponent. At 29, he's in his prime, young, fast, and coming off solid wins, including a hard-fought...
We didn't come together when we wanted to, but we was able to come together and get the fans...
Including a hard-fought victory over Abel Ramos on the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson undercard last November. He also defeated Dennis Ugas in 2023, the very man who sent Pacquiao into retirement back in 2021. That when Pacquiao made his pro debut at age 16, Barrios hadn't even been born yet. Now, nearly 30 years later, the two are set to meet in what might be one of boxing's most improbable and most thrilling comebacks. Why now?
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't want to do that because that'll tarnish his legacy as well as...
Why now? Most fans believe Pacquiao had hung up the gloves for good. After all, he retired in 2021 and transitioned into full-time politics in the Philippines. But the competitive fire never truly went out. Thanks to a special WBC rule allowing legendary fighters to request a title shot upon returning, Pacquiao finds himself back in the spotlight and back in the title picture